Hey there, Andy here from the Learn How Group, learnhowgroup.com. And in this video, I'm going to give you a brief overview of CleanMyMac3. I'm going to show you how I use it and how you can use it to improve the overall performance of your MacBook or iMac computer. CleanMyMac3 by MacPot is a really cool program that helps you improve the performance of your computer. One of the biggest things, or the main thing that it does, is it helps clean out all the junk from your Mac, which can kind of occur over time as you download files, you get cached files from the internet and other places, and it can really start to slow down your computer and decrease the performance. When you install CleanMyMac3, you'll see at the top of your screen, you'll get this little computer icon with like a little windshield wiper on it. And you can click on that and see some really valuable information right here really quickly. Just to tell you, when I first got this program, my my hard drive was almost full. I had like 3 gigabytes available before my hard drive space was totally full. And now, after using CleanMyMac, I've been able to get it down to where I have over 100 gigabytes available for storage. Right down here, you'll also see memory. This is one of my favorite features to use in CleanMyMac3. So this shows you right now how much RAM my computer is currently using based on what applications I have open, what software I have running in the background. That you can see that my computer is really running at almost max capacity. There's a little button right here for memory that you can click that says free up. When you click that, it will start to free up some of your RAM, and it will allocate the RAM for the programs that you really need it for to help your programs and software run a lot faster. So just by clicking that button, I was able to free up a bunch of RAM, so now my computer can run a lot faster. You'll also see right here battery, how much battery I have remaining, the health of the battery, and then trash. This one's really useful as well. You can just press the empty trash button right here from this little drop down, and you can instantly empty your trash and free up a lot of storage space on your computer. So I already have CleanMyMac3 open, but you can click this button right here and it will launch CleanMyMac3. So let's open it up and kind of dive into some of the features. Right here on the very front screen, you'll see Smart Cleanup. Smart Cleanup is the way to scan your entire computer, and it will scan these different locations or file types, I guess you could say, over here on the left. So by doing Smart Cleanup, you're going to scan system junk, photo junk, mail attachments, iTunes junk, trash bins, and large and old files. So let's show you really quickly what that looks like. So if I just press scan, it's going to scan all those different locations on my Mac. I'm going to skip ahead so that you don't have to wait for this to load, and then we'll take a look at what the scan results showed us. All right, so our Smart Cleanup scan just finished, and you can see here that I have 9.87 gigabytes of files that can be cleaned up or deleted. These are cached files, old files, temp files, files that are weighing down or slowing down my computer that I don't necessarily need anymore. So I have the ability, I can check on these boxes or uncheck the boxes if I don't want to clean up any of those specific files. So if I don't want to clean up the iTunes junk right now, I can uncheck that. And then, for example, mail attachments says there's nothing to clean, and large and old files needs review. So if I wanted to clean that up, I could just click the clean button right here, and that will clean that up for me automatically. If you have a password on your computer, you'll just need to type in your password, close any open applications, and then CleanMyMac3 takes care of the rest. 0.87 gigabytes of storage, and you can see that I now have 119 gigabytes available on my hard drive. So that's the Smart Cleanup. If you wanted to just scan a specific section of the Smart Cleanup, like I mentioned, System Junk, you could click on System Junk and just scan System Junk, or just scan photo junk, or just scan mail attachments. I just did a cleaning, so you can see that the cleanup is complete for all those. But if you don't, you'll see a button that allows you to scan that specific location. Large and old files. This is something that's really nice that they do for you. You can see I have a lot of large and old files, 225 gigabytes, which is almost half of my files on my hard drive. But instead of just deleting all those automatically, because maybe I want those, the CleanMyMac program will locate those files that it thinks are really old or really large or taking up a lot of storage, and you can sort. So when you click on large and old files, I can view all files. I can view files that are over 5 gigabytes or 1 to 5 gigabytes, and you'll see that it kind of highlights those over here on the right. But then I can go through right here and look at what's taking up a lot of my storage and see here that factory packs is taking up 27 gigabytes of storage. Maybe I want to go through there and delete and clean up some of those files. So this is a really nice way to kind of see what's taking up a lot of your storage and where you can free up some storage space if you're running out of storage. Now we're going to move on over here to the utilities section. This is a little bit different than the smart cleanup. These are just some extra features you can use with CleanMyMac3. The uninstaller is a really easy way to uninstall programs that you no longer need. So you can see here a list of all the programs installed on your device or your computer, and you can check and uninstall if you no longer want that application. Maintenance. All right, this can be a little bit more confusing, so we're going to try to clarify this a little bit for some of you. Run maintenance scripts. This is basically a routine that the Mac or your MacBook or iMac runs on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. These are scripts that help keep your Mac in shape and keep it running smoothly. When you run maintenance scripts, it will delete temporary files, it will log rotations, it will rebuild system databases. It's a lot of fancy technology words that you really don't need to know, to be honest. It's just a really good tool that you can use every day if you want. Okay, Flush DNS Cache. Flush DNS Cache is the local cache of domain name systems, which is DNS, during a period defined by the DNS server. A good time to flush your DNS cache is if some of the websites that you're trying to load aren't working properly, or they don't seem updated, or you have network slowdown, or other types of internet type of problems with web pages loading, stuff like that. Of course, it could be an internet problem, but it also could be a cache problem that you can solve by flushing your DNS cache. Speed up mail. This is a good option or a good feature to use if you feel like your mail is not running up to performance. So this will clean up some of your junk and trash folders. It will delete unneeded emails, stuff like that. So you can try to run this if the mail search isn't working very well, if you're having a really hard time deleting, moving, or receiving messages, if message content is not being displayed properly, things like that. Rebuild Launch Services Database. Okay, so this is when the Finder application uses the Launch Services Database to keep information about file types and applications assigned to open them by default. So when you might want to run this is if you're seeing stuff like when you double click on a file, it doesn't open in the right application. If files and folders have the wrong icons, the open with menu displays duplicated or outdated applications. You probably won't see a lot of problems with this, but you can fix some of those issues with this maintenance tool. Reindex Spotlight. This procedure is very resource and time consuming that will keep your Mac under a high workload until this task is completed. Spotlight will not work while you're doing this, but it will work very well afterwards. If you're seeing overall search performance drop when you're using the search toolbar on your Mac, or if Spotlight does not find items that you know exist on your computer, you could do a reindexing. That's just basically the search tool on your Mac. Repair disk permissions verifies and repairs broken file and folder permissions throughout your Mac. So this is a good tool to use if you're having issues with moving or viewing or deleting files, if applications are not functioning properly, if icons for applications look like question marks, stuff like that. Verify startup disk. This is something that checks the file system on your main disk to make sure that all your data is solid and safe. If your disk needs repairs, this will provide you with appropriate instructions on how to recover the disk and stuff like that. You're really not ever going to want to use this unless you see a significant performance drop when you're trying to read or write data. Files are getting corrupted, your Mac is experiencing difficulties while finding or using data, and other things like that. Okay, that finishes up the maintenance tools. Let's go and look over at privacy. With the privacy tools, what you can do is based on the different web browsers or messaging apps you have installed on your Mac, you can remove cookies, you can delete your browsing history, downloads history, other things like that. If you have Google Chrome, some of those things will have to be done within Google Chrome. You can see some of the things can be done within CleanMyMac, like you can clear out your saved passwords or tabs. If you have the iMessage app, you can delete old iMessages and other things like that. The extensions tool will help you remove extensions that you have installed on web browsers and in other places. So you can see if you use Google Chrome, you probably have a lot of extensions installed. Google Chrome actually doesn't allow you to remove extensions through this app. You have to do them through Google Chrome, but at least you can see here kind of what you have installed. But there's other types of programs on your computer that have extensions that you can remove here through the extensions tool. I don't really use this tool very often, but it is there if you need it. And the last tool available with CleanMyMac is the shredder, which will forever erase and delete a file. I'm sure many of you are aware, but when you delete a file or move it to the trash, it's actually still just sitting there in the trash until you delete it forever. The shredder will help you remove sensitive files or anything that you really never ever want to see again, or you don't want anyone to be able to get or recover ever again. That concludes our little overview of using CleanMyMac3. I've really loved using this software and I use it on a regular basis. I really feel like it has helped my Mac speed up performance, even if I do just use the simple tools in the drop-down menu when you click on the top of the screen. There are a lot of amazing features in the program, and it does help free up a lot of storage space if you find yourself running out of storage. So if you do see performance drops in your Mac and storage is starting to fill up, I would recommend checking out CleanMyMac3. You can get the free trial. I got a description below, and you can get the free trial, check it out for yourself to see what you think before you buy. Thanks again for watching, you guys. This is Andy from LearnHowGroup.com.